Patrick Devlin, writing over at Firedog Lake, actually it was cross-posted there from M-Law. Right, scientists in England are reporting what could be a significant breakthrough in the treatment of all forms of cancer, stating that their research suggests that cannabis's psychoactive ingredient, known as tetrahydrocannabinol, could act to shrink cancerous tumors in patients stricken with the deadly disease. You'll remember, is it Tommy Chong has prostate cancer and he's treating himself with hemp oil? It made a lot of news a year or so ago. I have no idea how he's doing or even if he's still around. But the researchers were at the University of East Anglia, the place where they famously hacked the emails about global warming, where the researchers were disagreeing with each other about minutia. You know, no, it's 1.6 degrees. No, it's 1.3 degrees. How can you say that? It's 1.6. The data's obvious. No, you're just being a jerk. It's 1.3 degrees. And you know, the global warming deniers and the Flat Earth Society tried to pretend that that meant that there was some kind of a debate about global warming. There wasn't. There was there's debates among scientists. But anyhow, this is a famous university, and they do really good work. And they say that THC, the stuff in pot that gets you high, appears to affect two receptors found in cancer tumors. These are called cannabinoid receptors. And when these receptors are activated, it shrinks the growth of the tumors. It slows the rate at which cancer grows. In fact, reverses it. The scientists bombarded human cancer cells in mice with doses of THC that were isolated into compounds for the research study. The compounds were found by the researchers to help shrink tumors. The scientists hope that their discovery can lead to the development of a synthetic form. See, that way you can make money on it. A synthetic form of the compound, which can be patented and sold for $1 million a shot or something, that can eventually provide relief for patients who've been diagnosed with cancer. Why not just give them a joint? The nation's medical researchers from the National Institutes of Health, this is our nation, the United States. He notes the UK researchers' discovery supports the opinion of the U.S. medical establishment. Although U.S. medical researchers are by and large stuck with this embargo, quote, the United States nation's medical researchers from the National Institutes of Health reported in July of 2012, this was 2 years ago now, quote, this is from the National Institutes of Health, NIH, which, by the way, holds a patent on medical marijuana. Or actually, the DHS holds the patent. NHS is, I think, part of DHS. They say, quote, evidence accumulated during the last decade supports that cannabinoids, the active components of cannabis, sativa, and their derivatives, possess anti-cancer activity. End of quote. That's our National Institutes of Health. That is not Colombia's or Ecuador's or Castro's. It's ours. So they caution that this cannabinol was, diminished tumors was specially synthesized for the experiments. It was targeted directly at the cancer cells in specific concentrations, a medical application that cannot be achieved by cancer patients by self-administering cannabis using common methods of cannabis ingestion. Scientists from Canada, New Zealand, the United Kingdom, and the United States have found that heavy users of cannabis, people smoking pot for years, have no greater chance of contracting lung cancer than casual cannabis users or non-cannabis users. Most notably, they don't have the risk of developing lung cancer that cigarette smokers do, yet they're both inhaling burned plant matter. Why? Could it be that here, the Annals of American Thoracic Society last year, the habitual use of marijuana alone does not appear to lead to significant abnormalities in lung function. Overall, the risks of pulmonary complications, heart disease, pulmonary is the lung disease. Complications of regular use of marijuana appear to be relatively small and far lower than those of tobacco smoking, end of quote. The journal actually went farther in another article from 2013 saying, quote, cannabis smoking does not seem to increase risk of chronic obstructive pulmonary disease or airway cancers. In fact, there is even a suggestion that low doses of cannabis may be protective for both conditions. However, they are quick to note, no studies have been performed in the United States in recent years on human subjects due to the embargo against researching the medical benefits. And this is in large part because the woman who runs the Drug Enforcement Agency, the DEA, does not know the difference between pot and heroin if her testimony before Congress is to be believed, which I don't believe. I don't think Michelle Leonhart is that dumb.